Oh shit, that shit blurred in the motherfucker, bro. Let's. Alright, we clean now. Hey, what's happening, y'all? Back again with another rant style video. I got a new chair, so I can sit back now. You know what I'm saying? I can sit back with these videos. I don't have to sit all stiff and, in that wooden chair like I was before. So I'm just gonna sit back and talk to y'all real quick and share my thoughts on a few things, one of these things, well, when I say a few things, it's going to be one topic video, but I'm going to record multiple videos this weekend. Alright, so with that being said, this first video I wanted to discuss is why I believe you should move out of, I'm going to say move out of state, but I really want to say move out of your parents' home. Although I know that both things in this economy is very hard to do, and even before this economy became this economy, whatever that means to you, it was still not as simple as just, hey, I want to move, I'm going to move. But I'm just going to give reasons on why you should as an adult. Now, I'm saying as an adult, especially if you're an older adult. But as with everything, you do what you feel is best for you. This is not me trying to shame anybody who might still be living with their parents or even still live within the same city or state that they grew up in. Not everybody hates where they grow up in. Not everyone is like me. Not everyone hates the city and the politics. Not everyone is not so fond of the state like me, so I totally understand it. And, even those of us who still don't necessarily have strong positive feelings about where we are, we still, are where we are because, well, again, this economy, right? So I understand that. I understand there are reasons as to why people, although not ideally, are living in the situations that they're living in. But I'm still going to give reasons as to why I feel as though you should strive. Because you have a job, which means you have a means of making money to get yourself out of whatever situations that you find yourself in, right? So why you should strive to move out, okay? This is obviously for folks who have been thinking about this. If you are pretty dead set with where you are in life, then clearly you don't have to listen to what I have to say. Even if you're not dead set on it, you don't have to listen to it. Again, these are just my thoughts. Now, stop the precursors. One of the last things I'm going to say before I get into why. What inspired me to make this video is honestly a video I saw on here on YouTube. So this is kind of, in a way, my response or a redo of a video that I was watching of this young lady. And I say young lady as if she was, well, I mean, she was like 25 or so, and she ended up moving back into her her mother's house. But yeah, she did a video on this very topic and wanted to talk about, in that video, she uploaded it, so I believe she thinks that she did a good job at convincing the viewers to move out. When in actuality, I saw that video and I'm like, I'm not trying to diss this young lady, but she doesn't sound convincing at all. She did not sound convincing at all, not one bit. That was number one. Number two, when I say she doesn't sound convincing at all, I mean that she was talking about, hey, move out, but it seemed like she was still being led by fear of the same fears that I guess she endured when she first moved out of her mother's house. The high rent costs, the independence that she felt she was ready for but wasn't ready, but then moved back into her again her parents' home and was like, but I'm ready for this independence. But then I just feel like a lot of the statements she made in her video was fear based. And if anybody knows me, you know I'm not a fear based guy. I lived a lot of my life, the majority of my life being that. And not only does it not do wonders for your health, mental and physical health, it doesn't change the situation at all. And many times it's made situations in my life worse when I was more so fear based rather than either faith based or just action based. Okay. And yeah, it's I'm not saying it's going to be easy to be faith based, but when you take action, you can still take action with fear. You know, the whole saying of "do it scared" is a saying for a reason, right? Not because it sounds catchy and motivating, but because it's trying to get people to do things still with a scared heart, with a scared mind, but still doing the thing that they're afraid to do anyways, right? Because once they figure out, hey, I can actually do this, right? Like me, the first time I moved out and moved to a different state, it was like, can I really do this? I did it scared. I did it with no money too, but I did it scared. You know, it was like once you do something once, you can do it again, right? So I'm all about just that. I'm all about being action based, not fear based. The only thing that she said, I feel as though, yeah, she desires or claims that she wants to move out of her mother's house, but I feel like her biggest issue isn't necessarily the independence that she says or she kept clamoring on and saying that she misses. I think that she mentioned it in her video. I'm not dissing this young lady, but she mentions how she just gets tired of seeing her mom walk around the house naked. Now, obviously, who wants to see their parents walking around naked is awkward. I get it. I'm not saying that her reasoning for wanting to move out because she don't want to see her mom naked is not a valid reason. That is a total, as ridiculous as it may sound to you all. Some people are going to say because I want independence, which is my reason. You want your own place. You want to develop who you are as an individual. Some people are just probably going to have the reason of, I'm just tired of seeing my parent naked. You know, and I can't tell them no because they're the ones paying the bills around here. And I don't want to necessarily tell them no because they're the parent, you know? So it's like, I can't say anything, but I don't want to continue seeing them naked. That's a totally valid reason. That's not issues that I've dealt with when I, you know, living at home with family and things of that nature. I've fortunately was able to avoid that because I knew when somebody was showering to keep my ass in this room or keep my ass somewhere else to where it was like, okay, when someone is coming out the shower, yeah, people wear towels, but you know, all that other stuff. But the majority of us are walking out butt naked. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? Or at least I do. You know what I'm saying? When I say butt naked, I use the towel to dry myself off, moisturize my body. I walk in the room with my moisturized naked body, and then I get dressed. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all might like that visual. Subscribe if you want to see it. Psych, this ain't OnlyFans, but subscribe anyways. But anyways, in all seriousness, as I mentioned before, one of the reasons why I feel as though you should move out of your parents' house is, again, that independence. I don't think that, and this could be a hot take, I don't care. This might be offensive, I don't care. Right? I don't think it's a hot take. I am not trying to offend anybody, so that's why I'm not going to respond to, you're just trying to make a hot take, you're trying to offend anybody. No, that's not the intention, right? I don't think anybody can truly call themselves independent if they're still living with people that, what is the opposite of if you're a dependent, right, which would be you in this situation, What is the opposite of that? A caretaker or a dependee? Nah, not a dependee. If you're still a dependent, right? Now there are situations, of course, where it's actually the parents are dependent on the child because maybe it's a somewhat of a hospice situation where the parent is elderly or sick and they need a caretaker, and then the child, or the children who are grown at this point of that said elderly individual do not want to leave their mom and dad in hospice. Totally understandable, again, as well as I've seen family members be in those situations. It's not the ideal situation. I wouldn't want that for my father. I wouldn't have wanted that for my mother at all. But sometimes that's the way to go for folk. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to say whatever. Some people don't fuck with their parents like that. I have my feelings about my parents, and I still didn't want to put them in a situation like that. But that's just me. But like I was saying with the aspect of independence, I don't think you could truly consider yourself an independent individual if, again, you're still under somebody else's care personally, right? That's just my opinion, right? Especially if those people happen to be your parents. Now, when I say independent, I simply just mean if you're responsible for taking care of where you live, meaning you pay the rent, the electricity bill, water bill, if all that other stuff isn't lumped into your rent and stuff like that, if these are just separate payments you have to make, right? Any other types of bills that you may have. Sure, you might pay for your phone bill, you might pay for the streaming bill and that for whatever streaming services you have, right? And to get it, like I said, the reason as to why is a lot of people who are struggling to find their own place is because of how things are now. But also, we don't make it easier on ourselves when we have 50 billion streaming services and we don't use. We don't make it easier on ourselves when we have other things that we're paying for that we don't necessarily use, or we don't really need. If we're really being honest, we don't really need these things, right? Paying for gym memberships, I either don't use, or you go once a month, but you're paying upwards to maybe 25 a month or so, right? If you're Planet Fitness Gold card member, I think gold or black, I think it was black. That was the one I used to pay for, right? But if you're paying $25 a month for that, and you hardly go to the gym, that's money out of your pockets that could be saved up for you to afford your own place. Now, one could say it's only $25, right? It's always funny when people say it's only this, it's only that, it's only $7.99 for the streaming service. If it's only that, then you should be able to afford your own place and have all these things. But clearly that's not the case, because it's not just only a $7.99 bill every month. That accumulatively is adding up, and it's taking away money from other areas to where you can pay that. So you have to, whether you're making payments of 99 cents per month for something, or $100 per month or more for whatever, all that, when you look into the expenses, you look into what you desire to do in life, right? You're gonna have to take all that into account. I am not a math major. I am no accountant. This is not financial advice at all, but it's like, I'm just saying, like, this, if you are very serious about moving out, if you're very serious about anything, not even just on the aspect of moving out, that is the topic of this video. If you're very serious about things that takes money to even get to said level, you're going to have to reevaluate your spending. It's really that simple. And when I say it's really that simple, I'm not saying the process is going to be easy. I'm saying it's really, like, if you're struggling to figure out a starting point, the starting point is always going to be you. It's always going to be what you can do. It's always going to be what are you doing right now. It's always going to be you. It starts with you. It's always going to be, well, what can I control first? And again, all the other outside shit, the economy, the shitty market, whether it be the shitty job market, the shitty housing market, that's stuff that's not necessarily in your control. But you shouldn't start there. Like I said, it starts with you. There are stuff that's in your control, like again, signing up for streaming services, all of the streaming services, signing up for anything that causes money that again you don't use or barely use. The overspending of maybe takeout food or whatever when there's food at home because your mom goes grocery shopping. And sure, she probably doesn't cook your meals anymore like she did when you were a child. If you truly want to personify this independent person, start at home. Start cooking your own meals with that food that's there. And if you don't like the food that is there, then by all means go and buy what you want and then start cooking that. I say these things and, people are going to get offended by it as if I'm judging them because people are going to feel like I'm judging them. But I swear I'm speaking from someone who lived it, like who's living this and lived it, I'm not coming from a place of judgment. I'm coming from a place of this is what I did or this is what I'm doing and this is how I want to help you all. And if I can give advice, especially freely, because if I wanted to be a fucking asshole, I would charge y'all for this shit. I would make this, I can't do channel memberships yet, but I would make it a Patreon exclusive. I would say this, something like, I would charge people for this information. I'm giving it out freely. If I wanted to be an asshole, right? I don't want to be an asshole. So I want to give it out freely to anyone willing to listen. But it has to take honesty. It has to take, hey, this is what I want to do, But anyways, reason number 2 as to why I feel as though you should move out of your parents' house, meaning either out of state or just out of, your parents' house. And a lot of them are going to sound the same, like independence and stuff, but, really what comes with that also is self-discovery. I don't think you really, can you discover your individuality when you're still living with family? Absolutely, I did that, but oftentimes, and this is something that I still go through, even with family members I don't live with anymore. But oftentimes, people are only going to view you, especially the people you grew up with and around, they're only going to view you as who you were when y'all was constantly around each other. They're not going to view you as the, quote, new you, as what they're going to say, or terms of that nature it's going to sound like they're saying. They're not going to view you for who you are now, essentially, is what I'm saying. They're always going to view you as, again, that little boy, little girl, that individual you were when you were around them. Why? Because that's what makes them feel comfortable. And especially if you're the type of individual who values change and you want to change, right? And they seem to be the same, even though y'all are old as heck, and they still seem to be the same type of individual. I mean, they've grown up, obviously, as far as physically, but mentally, they're still the same individual y'all was hanging out with, right? Back in the day. They're going to view that as intimidation. They're going to have a problem with that, right? And obviously, I'm not saying that's the case for everybody. There are people who are blessed to have folks in their life who see, again, the quote, new them, right? And they celebrate that. But again, when I say I'm speaking from experience, I'm being dead serious. I'm speaking from experience when I say there are going to be people who are very much uncomfortable with the man or woman or person that you are right now. And I don't think it's the new version of you. I think it's who you just developed to be, you know? Or maybe who you always were, but you were suppressing that because, again, it wasn't what the people around you wanted you to be. Sometimes, or at least for me, it's very hard to be who you truly are when you're still surrounded by the very people who want you to be the same. So, in order to even combat that, you're gonna have to leave. It's a situation in situations like that. It's a choice thing, and then when I say choice thing, I'm not talking about your precious little streaming services. Calm down. Not this time. I'm talking about a choice on: do you want to be somewhere that might be far away from these people, but at least you get to live and be yourself freely and truly? Or do you want to be around these people that you've grown up around, again, family or not? But the catch in that situation, or the drawback, is you can't really be yourself. You have to be a shell of yourself, say that 6,000 times, but you have to be a shell of yourself, or be a version of you that you no longer identify with, but they want you to be that because that's the version of you that they are used to and only want to accept. That's what I mean by choices. You either choose the potential loneliness for some time. It's not like you can't make new friends and new connections wherever you go, whether that is in state or out of state. But you might find yourself in a moment of loneliness, in quotation marks, because I can't identify with that. I don't really necessarily get lonely, but that's neither here or there. But you might find yourself in a state of that for some time. Again, it's not going to be something permanent. If you put yourself out there, and this is an introvert telling you if you put yourself out there, you're not necessarily going to find yourself in that state of loneliness forever. That's number one. But number two, that's the first choice. Second choice, okay, you're not lonely, but you're also not necessarily feeling like yourself, because you're not yourself. You're who these people want you to be. And that's what I'm saying is, if you move away, sure, there can be a compromise, or you can try to, not a compromise, but a situation where you can try to get them to see you how you want to be viewed, which is the you that you are right now. Again, I've tried every method in the book, and simply because I'm saying, let me make this clear, simply because I'm saying something didn't work for me or did work for me is not me saying that it will or will not work for you. I'm just simply saying this is what I did. Again, I'm giving out free game because all I ask for is that like, and if you like material like this, hit that subscribe for more. You know what I'm saying? And shit, leave a comment on other things you would like for me to talk about, right? And if I have something to say about it, I will talk about it. If I don't have anything to say about it, I will let you know in the comments. Hey man, I'm not, or a woman or a person, I'm not really well versed or even comfortable talking about that. But I appreciate the suggestion anyway, right? And those will likely be my words, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. So with that being said, it could be a situation where you try to get the people, you try to talk to them and say, hey, this is who I am now, and I would really appreciate it if you all just viewed me this way, right? You can try that. It might work. It might not. It didn't work for me. But again, simply because it didn't work for me doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to work for you. Again, just giving you my experience and hopefully helping people out, not trying to shed doom and gloom, because like I said with that young lady's video, I think that's what she was doing. It was a video trying to convince people to move out the house, but it felt more so like, these are all of my fears as to why I moved back into the house, but the reason I want to move back out because I'm tired of seeing my mama naked. Again, valid reason to not want to live with your parents, but it was still a fear-based video. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make this a fear-based video, right? So I think that really those are the main two reasons: independence and you actually either self-discovery or just you actually being who you truly are. I guess a number three reason or third reason is, you get to learn how to do shit on your own. I can tell you right now, I didn't know how to pay rent until I moved out the house. I didn't know about the other stuff until I moved out the house. Some people are fortunate to have parents who will want to teach them things of that nature. Me, I feel like, not to give away too much about just my parents and shit, make it seem like I'm talking shit about them, but I feel like they sheltered myself and, my siblings from a lot of things because they didn't want us to be independent. And they wanted us to be more so dependent on them for a lot of things. Maybe I'll delve deeper into that in a future video or so, but it wasn't until when I moved out the first time, I was like, that's when I figured out how to do a lot of shit. A lot of shit that it means to maintain a household. Now, I already knew how to clean, obviously, cook for myself, do my own laundry, and all that. Heck, even repair some things. You know what I'm saying? This is stuff I already knew how to do, even prior to moving out. But there was a lot of things, like not just the indoor upkeep, but the outdoor upkeep, per se, that I had no idea. I had to learn literally like on the job, per se, like learn from it actually doing the thing that you're supposed to, like learn how to pay rent by actually paying the rent, not watching somebody else do it or taking courses or watching YouTube videos on it, even though I'm sure there are people on YouTube who create content on that. I had to do the things that, calling maintenance and figuring out the trash situation, figuring out the mail situation, getting mail sent to, from one address to another. All these things that were not taught to me at all. I had to figure it out and do that for myself. And I feel like if I can at least warn somebody, like, hey, before you move, these are things you're actually going to have to know how to do or learn, again, for lack of better wording, on the job like I did. It's possible because I did it, and I'm not a genius, so if I can do it, you can most absolutely, definitely, positively do it yourself as well. Probably learn faster than I did. I know I didn't learn it in a slow way, but you get what I'm saying. If I can learn how to do these things on my own, on the job, in quotation marks, yet again, then surely you can do the same. But if you can learn them before actually getting into the field, then you twice as better off than I was when I first got out into the field, per se, right? So really, that's all I have to say. Again, hopefully this has motivated somebody or anybody willing to watch. And again, I want to make it abundantly clear. I understand situations are crazy out here. Not everyone can move out the house. Not everyone can live on their own. Some people can't have their cake and eat it too. Some people want to move out the house and then want their own apartment, but they can only afford a room with other strangers who also want to move out the house. You're looking at someone that's in that situation. You're looking at someone who would love an entire apartment to himself, but at the moment in time having roommates. I get that. I get it. But even in situations like that, if you're making money, if you're doing whatever you need to do, you can get what you want. You might have to lower, it's either two things. Lower your low expectations. You want a whole mansion to yourself. if, with the money you're making or money you're not making, it's just not going to happen. Or it's a very, very little chance that it's going to happen. That's number one. Number two, if it does happen for you, you're going to have to put in a lot more work than what you're doing right now. Because right now, you're just sitting down watching a YouTube video. You could be doing something productive with yourself. Although this is very much productive and appreciated by me. But I won't keep any more of your time. I got more videos to record. So, yeah, hopefully this helps out. All right? Again, not trying to offend anybody, but also not going to apologize for having an opinion on this. All right? Y'all take care of yourself.